The Liberty University wrestling team is back on the mats preparing for their 2019 season. After becoming the NCAA National Championship team, along with producing 14 All-Americans and 7 individual national champions, Coach Jesse Castro wants to create a dynasty for his team. This season, the team still looks as strong as ever with a great returning class, but is also gaining some prominent wrestlers in their new recruiting class.
And joining me now is Liberty University's head wrestling coach, Jesse Castro. Jesse, always a great time getting to talk to you.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So Jesse, last time we spoke, we were still kind of living the high of a record-breaking year at Nationals, and now guys are getting ready for coming back and getting back into wrestling season. What's kind of the thought process going into the new year after coming off such a great season?
Well, just not to recap my annual banquet, by the way, the objective is to establish a dominant program through a dynasty. I mean, yeah, we did a great job this year, phenomenal job, set many precedents. How do we build on that? As was communicated with the wrestlers at the banquet, we want to establish a dynasty. So what does that mean? That means that we cannot settle and occupy. We have to advance.
One of the big things for you right now is you guys have a pretty good sized recruiting class coming in. I know you've got a good solid 5-6 guys that are going to add some depth to your team, and I know you've always talked about you wanting some well-rounded wrestlers. You're not just wanting somebody who is 100% dedicated to the mats. You want somebody who is 100% dedicated off the mats to the team and the family that you guys have, and I think you're pretty excited for those guys that are coming in.
Yeah, that's a great point, by the way. Is talent important? Of course it's important, but is that exclusive? No, it's not. I think one of the major factors as to the success of our program in the last 3 or 4 years has been team camaraderie. It's been a culture that we've established through the grace of God, with guys that are not only talented, but that have bought into the program and to the philosophy of the program, and more importantly, into their faith, personal faith in Jesus Christ. And so the guys coming in, to answer your question, I believe that that all of them are very much on point when it comes to a like philosophy. And so I think they're going to blend very well. In terms of talent, we might have one of our better talented recruiting classes that we've ever had in the NCAA level. But at the same time, I think they'll fit in philosophically, which will even hopefully propel us even to a higher extent.
Again, looking back on this year, women's wrestling had an obviously great year as well, 2 of which won national titles this year. Kendall, of course, winning her 3rd, Reese winning her 1st with Liberty. They're going to be coming back this year, and we've talked about women's wrestling has grown for Liberty in the past couple of years, and those 2 have laid the groundwork, but you still want to have a good solid team in going with women's wrestling every year. How are they looking? How are the girls doing? And is Reese ready to bring in and start coaching again this year?
That's a great question, and I know she is, by the way. And yes, we are seeing just an ascension, if you will, for the program, the women's program, and those 2 individuals, those sisters, Kendall and Reese, are both at the foundational level, and I think in part have been responsible for the improvement in the program. The numbers we're looking at anywhere between 10 to 15 girls. The interest is growing. The recruiting class, it's still up in the air right now, so I don't know exactly how those numbers look. But they're going to be taking a different step too. For the first time, Reese is going to be taking the program and conducting the practices, even though she has conducted practices, but she's not necessarily going to be working with the men's team as much this year, but more exclusively on the women's team. So she's going to be stepping up.
And then like we had talked about before, and like you had mentioned at the banquet, the dynasty is really what you're looking for. Your team has fought many national tournaments long and hard, and they have proven that they're a force to be reckoned with. And I think that's something that is attainable for Liberty Wrestling, is that dynasty is going to be reachable. And one of the things I really wanted to ask you about is, you've got guys who are coming back wrestling this year. You've got a new team coming in, and I think the bond is going to grow really well. Do you think that dynasty could start this year?
100% yes. I'm counting on it, let's put it that way. And obviously you don't want to make predictions or anything like that. Way too early. We don't even know what our weight classes are going to be as far as who's going to be where. I will say this, we will be tested internally. And what do I mean by that? I mean that we are going to have 2 to 3 very good individuals in certain weight classes. And that could either draw us closer or it could split us apart. How those individuals that may not end up starting for the team, how they respond to that. I'm confident that in light of where we are or what we've done, I think that the bond will still improve regardless. But that is going to be a testing point.
Well, Jesse, as always, it's great sitting down with you and hearing about the team. And I know preseason's on its way and the guys are looking forward to another great year. But I hope you are too, and we can't wait to hear what happens.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the interview.